And we're back, episode 10. In studio with us today is John Rosecrans, architect extraordinaire.
Yes.
But before we get to John, yesterday, Jill, how about out on the town?
I loved
Good
it.
episode. Good episode.
Beautiful weather, meeting people, just having
it's fun.
bringing the community to life a little bit.
Shout out to the Split Rail guys, Doug Fresh, Paul, and John. Great interview with John. That's in episode 9. You want to check that out. Also,
Get
Jill,
ready
this
for the
weekend,
burlesque show.
Burlesque coming to Westchester.
February 14th. Unique.
I think there's...
What do you expect on a burlesque show?
Hey,
I don't know.
I don't know, but it's gonna. And there's a twist to that one. So anyway, in any event, I believe that there's tickets still available. So hopefully you guys will get tickets and check that out. What else? Anthony, Salon. Hey, G, Salon Chemistry.
We
we're gonna
might
come
want to
back.
do that again.
Yeah, we're gonna come back. That lady didn't seem all too thrilled to see us there, but
I understand, Doug. You go in. Sometimes you're having a bad hair day. She doesn't know. We're running in with cameras.
honey, she's getting a haircut. She's not getting a pap smear. Come on. Right, John?
Let's get back to John.
All right, so up next, John Rosecrans, architect extraordinaire. John has done everything from churches to barns to houses. Joe, what else? John, why don't you tell us? Tell the audience all that you've done.
Well, that would take too long.
Good answer.
Yeah. The company is, my company is Dimensional Dynamics, Architects and Planners. We are based right now in Kennett Square. It was started in the 70s to do churches, primarily churches. But in this area, in our Chester County, Delaware County area, I've done a lot of renovation work and adaptive reuse of historic structures, saving buildings that otherwise people would just want to discard and trying to keep them. Love barns. My wife and I bought a barn in 1993, and we have been slowly renovating it as finances allow. And that's kind of given me the ability to help others with barns as we've found the pitfalls doing it ourselves. So I've done a number of barns in the area, which is surprising because it's something that we have just done because people have come to us and said, hey, how would you like to help me with this barn?
Yeah.
So we have a
Probably
lot
are
of them.
very unique. Every situation is different as you're doing these barns.
It is. A lot of architects and especially contractors do not know what to do with the historic barns. So it's easier for them to just remove them and tear them down instead of trying to preserve them.
Yeah. Jill, as realtors, we get this often. We'll go to show somebody a barn that's been converted. And, look, let's fly up 151 Creek Road. Listing that's going to be coming back on the market in the spring. That's a prime example right there. I think that's going to be listed at $749, $750 around there. But in any event, people think about paying $750,000 for a barn.
But this one is completely renovated.
And these aren't just barns. When these are done, I mean, these are absolutely amazing structures. I mean, they're just way, way more than a barn.
You get the character and charm of the old buildings with all the modern amenities.
Yeah.
Right.
As you're going in.
And I think that's key. That's probably something that a lot of people don't think they can get.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
In our area, you'll find barns that have been recycled from previous barns.
John, do we have any pictures that we can start to show the viewers?
We do have some. That barn is a photograph of the stone barn that our friends had purchased after the initial ruins of the stone barn fell through. It was actually an intact barn. It was in good condition, and they turned that into their private residence.
Wow.
And that is over in Westtown, near Westtown School.
Oh, that's very cool.
Beautiful
And
property.
the wonderful views from that property too.
And you couldn't build something like that.
No, not at all.
Absolutely
Not
not.
at all.
There's no way to
I
recreate
mean, well, you could, but it's I don't know those.
But you wouldn't even
people.
have the stone. You wouldn't have.
Yeah,
You just wouldn't have any of the
You wouldn't,
materials.
exactly.
Yeah.
You'd be
What's this one? What are we
reclaiming
looking
from
at
other
here?
barns to build a new barn.
Correct,
Is basically
correct.
what you'd end up doing.
That is actually a carriage house in Unionville, and the client had purchased that, and they were looking at developing that site, and we turned that into 2 wonderful apartments that kind of overlap each other.
Wow.
And the center space is the living room of the upstairs apartment, and the lower center space is the living room of the downstairs apartment. So they're two-story apartments. That is actually a recent one we did in Kennett Square that was saving a carriage house. The client bought the entire property. We renovated the historic home and put on an addition to that. But while that was being done, the client lived in this carriage house that we renovated first.
You know what? I've actually shown that property. I know right where it is.
It's
beautiful.
it turned out to be an
Fantastic.
incredible one-bedroom apartment. Just a really nice space.
Excellent.
This one is the winery. This one is where our office used to be for 18 years. And I sold that property to the winery. And the design that I did for it, they liked, and we saw it through. So that is on Route 1. It's beautiful, right outside of Chadds Ford as you're going into, it's in Pennsbury Township as you're going into Pennsbury.
Fantastic.
And again, we'll probably stop out and see Chris and maybe do an episode from there.
Oh yeah, this is actually the model of the ruins. These ruins were on New Street, and they had been there for 80 years, standing as a burned out barn. And my client was looking at purchasing that. So we did a quick walkthrough and a design on how to put in a modern addition, but save all the original stone walls.
Okay.
So everything was saved. But as we were walking through it, you're in awe of the volume of these stone walls. But the previous owner had looked at just infilling the barn and putting it back to being a barn.
Yeah.
And I said, if you put it back to being a barn, you're going to lose what you're in awe of right now.
Okay.
And so what we did is we left them as ruins and just kind of set the new house kind of in it and out of it. And it was a very modern addition to that.
Well, that
cool.
brings up a great point, John, how important it really is to work with the the architect initially from the beginning phases, so you don't start removing and doing things that later the architect says, oh, wow, we could have done something with that.
When you're going for a property like this, it's very important to get somebody who understands the needs of the barn and what's going to be required before you even purchase it.
Right.
Because you could be buying a property that will just end up being a financial nightmare if you're not aware of some of the items to look for.
And I think that's a lot of the apprehension with people that we talk with. They're not really sure what they're getting into. Yes. And, you know, I think a modern home, like 151 Creek Road, that's already been done, they know what they're getting into. But something like that, you have no idea what you're getting into. What could happen? I mean, could there potentially be the risk of, and I'm sure there is, I guess, the risk of it just being a disaster?
Oh, yes,
They bought something and it's
absolutely,
just not workable?
absolutely.
But how would they find out beforehand? Would they hire
not
somebody
your
like
standard
Jules?
home
Right.
inspector
I was going to say,
that's coming out.
Who would determine whether or not that was a viable home or not?
Well, when we purchased ours, that was the one thing. You really aren't purchasing the barn structure because there was no value to it, especially in a residential area.
Yeah.
We were buying the lot. And it was, the question was, how much is it going to cost for me to remove that thing?
Yeah, right.
Or to renovate it?
Or to
And
integrate it into
those are the
something
type of things you have to consider, but it's very important to have someone look at these structures that can see past the age and see past the deterioration, see past the items that are...
Which is hard, Jill. We've got
tough.
clients that can't even see past the carpet and paint.
Exactly.
Honestly, I mean, so when you're thinking, this is somebody that really has vision.
And then-
would you say that most people that are buying and renovating these types of properties are very creative types?
Usually, yes.
Yeah.
Usually,
Because,
absolutely.
and
they don't want the normal 4-bedroom, 2.5
Yeah,
bath colonial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we didn't want that.
We didn't want that either, hence the
Right.
reason we're in a post and beam Pennsylvania
Correct,
fieldstone.
correct.
Well, when you were looking at the home, coming into it, you think, okay, this is great, and I think budgetary concerns, but you really need to know the individual property before
Absolutely.
you can start
Absolutely.
making an educated
Yeah.
guesstimate.
Who
of
would be that
cost.
person? Who's the person to come out to really determine whether or not that's viable? I mean,
It would be the architect. It would be somebody who understands
so it wouldn't be an
barns.
inspector.
No, it would not be.
Okay.
It would not be because the inspector, normally they would just be like, run away, because they don't see what they're doing.
They're saying everything is a flaw.
They can inspect whether, if there's anything on the site, water, sewer, things like that, or if there's been termites or things like that. But when it comes to how do I make this into a home, and a home inspector can't do it. The thing that's happening in our area is a lot of counties, a lot of townships are creating these ordinances to help preserve the historic resource.
Yeah.
And
Good
I'm the chairman of our historic commission in East Marlboro. And our ordinance helps developers have incentives to save these properties. But the problem is developers who are used to building brand new homes have no clue what to do with these barns.
That's right. Well,
And
we
we
shot
have
one
done
at Ravenscliff.
Ravenscliff, exactly.
We'll go back. Actually, we'll link up to that episode. That was a really cool one. We did Ravenscliff. They actually, this is a crazy property because we did a great job showing it, but it was surrounded by townhomes.
Exactly.
That completely eclipsed this
And
home.
they had to
they
renovate.
had to renovate and preserve
They
it.
were forced to renovate it,
Yeah.
but they don't know what to do with it.
Right.
Most barns could, in that situation, have adapted to 3 or 4 townhomes.
Yeah.
Because the barn structures are so big. And who would want to spend on a single-family home that much money
That's
and then
right.
look at
point.
townhomes?
Yeah, yeah.
So the townships have to be able to be sensible when it comes to preserving these historic structures. We're lucky because our property is sitting on 2 acres surrounded by 50 acres of common ground on 3 sides.
Wow, that's great.
So we have the view of the pastures, the
Okay.
barn, and the developer, the site designer, civil engineer that did that land development, did a wonderful work with preserving that barn and
Yeah.
giving it space. But I have seen a lot of barns with 10 feet away as, homes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, even at Cherry Creek, same
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I don't think that's close. That's pretty far away, actually. Cherry Creek. Oh no. That one structure is
Right, and it's used-
right at the very end of the
Used as a
neighborhood.
community center.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
No, somebody bought that. But in any event, we'll find that out. That's something for another episode. We have to find out.
But barns are there, and there are incentives in a lot of townships to the developer to preserve them. Most developers will tear them down just because they don't really know how to deal with them. And their innate sense is, well, I'll take that new home technology and move it into the barn.
Yeah.
But
What a
barns,
shame.
in a barn, nothing's level, square, or plumb. So
Right.
you have to work with the fact that nothing's level, square, or plumb.
Yeah.
And it takes, I always tell people that come and work on our house, do not underestimate the barn.
Yeah.
Because they will approach it as, oh, I'll just
Well-
come in and do normal work, and it's never the case.
We had prospective buyers looking at 151 Creek Road, and the feedback was the room sizes were not the same. They were not plumb
They weren't
or
square.
Yeah, they weren't square. Uh-huh.
Well,
Yeah.
230 years
Yeah,
ago, I don't
they
think that
wanted
was a
10 by
priority.
12 or something, and it had to be like that. The furniture had to fit, and there's
And
no
there,
such
there are
thing.
tricks
It's
to
a
actually make it look
230-year-old
right.
home, so,
Yeah, there
I mean-
are tricks to actually make it look right. Because there are sometimes where you want to walk into a room and it will be disconcerting to see something totally out of level.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
there are ways to make it level without being level.
Right.
And the room's not square,
Lot
but
of
that
tricks.
line
Yeah.
is level.
Yeah.
And we had to do that in our home because, things sag over 100 years.
Can we fly a picture
Wow.
of your home here?
No, I don't have any on there.
No, but can you send me one and I'll fly it up?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Good.
I can.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, John, this is exciting, man. Thank you very much for coming on the show. I mean,
Oh, you're
really,
welcome.
some
Great
great
information.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we are in a prime area here in Chester
Yeah.
and Delaware County. There are so
Absolutely.
many barns out there, so many things that we might look at and say, oh, it's in ruins or it's in shambles.
Yeah,
But
shout out to Michael Hutchings. I know Michael out in Las Vegas always appreciates the barns and the older buildings and structures that we have around here because there's not any out there.
Right. Right.
There's not too much
Right.
out there.
And you know what? I know people are always interested in seeing the before and the after, so make sure you follow us on Pinterest. We'll be putting up quite a few before
In
and
fact,
after
we'll put
pictures,
we'll put all these pictures up there.
Right.
Is that all right, John?
That's fine, that's fine.
Beautiful.
Great.
Yes, we'll throw all those up on
along
Pinterest.
with many more.
Yep. Check us out on Snapchat. Come on, guys. You got to get with the program on Snapchat. I mean, where are you at?
2016.
Yeah, 2016, baby. Get in the game. Twitter, all that good stuff. It's all down below. John's contact information is going to be below as well. So that is it. Another good episode.
Thank you
Little,
very much, John.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you,
Great.
John, for being
You're
on the
welcome.
show. So in our upcoming episode, we've got a couple of Jules Falcone episodes coming up.
I think we're going to be talking about heating
Heating
systems.
systems. Another exciting one. But probably
Mandatory,
Let's get me
especially
back out
here
on
in the
town.
Northeast.
I feel stuffy
We'll
in
be
the
mixing
studio
it up
again.
a little bit.
Where's my selfie stick? Producer, where's my selfie stick? I got to get a selfie stick in here. Well, that's all. Until next time, I'm Doug.
And I'm Jill. Thanks for, oops.
I'm John.
Thanks for watching.